Πείτε μου τουλάχιστον με πόσα κιλομπάιτ φορτώνουμε.
Connex από τον ΟΤΕ. Σταθερά, γρήγορο και αξιόπιστο ίντερνετ.
I had a lot in my life. I was working hard, had a nice home, had lots of toys, but I wasn't happy. And I went to a drop zone, a skydiving operation in New York. And as I was walking in, I saw a man in the wood line. He was taking down his tent. I didn't understand what he was doing, so I went and asked him. He said he was taking his tent down because the night before it had a really bad rainstorm and the inside of his tent was all wet. He had only a sleeping bag, a cooler, one pair of clothes, but he was happy. And I saw something in his eyes that I didn't have, and he had nothing. And that day, the vision changed my whole idea and mindset. I wanted to see if getting rid of everything could give me that look in his eyes. And that's exactly what I did, and it did. By the end of the day, I asked him where he would be going. He told me he would be going to Florida to start working at another drop zone. And I told him, keep your eyes open because I'm going to be there soon. That's exactly what I told him. 4 weeks later, I arrived where he was. He thought I was crazy, but I was so happy. I gave up my whole life and gained a whole new life and a good friend. The last time we were together, we went flying together, skydiving. It was one of the greatest skydives I've ever had. I'll never forget it. And that was one of the last times that we actually saw each other. So this life and being paralyzed in a wheelchair, only just a few weeks ago did he find all this out. I can't say what his reaction was inside. I would imagine like most people, first you get a little bit sad. And maybe you reflect on your own life because you think, hey, I'm doing this sport too. Maybe this could happen to me. But I think if you watch enough videos, after time you'll see that I'm okay and that I found a way to live my life over again. Basically, he said he saw that my spirit transferred from the one he knew before into this life and that he could see that I was still strong and still able to live my life. 5 weeks after my accident, I was transferred to a new hospital. And the doctor did a test and he looked at me and he said, I'm sorry, Mr. Colwell, you will never walk again. And my first words were, please take my life. Everything in my life was physical. I loved to climb trees and jump out of planes and ride snowboards and now it was all gone. And my first fear was, how will I go on like this? I decided to try to do something for myself, and for some reason I thought I would try to light a lighter. I did. It wasn't easy, but I did it. And when I did it, my thumb was burning, and it started to smell, the burning flesh, and I was just mesmerized by the lighter. The spark that was gone in me relit, and I realized, okay, if I could do that, maybe I can do other things too. And then it was a slow process of one at a time, sorting out my fears, facing them. Fear is a feeling, it's an emotion, it's a disturbance, it's an experience that you have to go through, something you have to seek within yourself. I'm 40 years old and I've learned my whole life to be afraid. There isn't a person I know that isn't afraid of something. Some people are afraid to cross the street, some people are afraid of extreme sports. Some people are afraid of their work. Some people are afraid of others. Fear is everywhere, and everybody goes through it in some form or another. But I can say that it's not necessary. And after you learn and understand inside of you what you fear, then there doesn't have to be fear ever again. YouTube was a great way for me to And this is probably something all people can do to learn from about getting over fears. So I put this little process into play, and I videoed myself getting out of bed, which was very hard for me to see. And of course, I got messages of all kinds. Why would you do something like that? You're brave for doing something like that. I somehow felt that people now understood, and that helped me. I wasn't the only one anymore. I wasn't alone. Everyone was in my bedroom now with me. And then what happened was I started getting lots of requests. People are asking me, how do I do this? How do I do that? How do I eat? How do I cook? How do I grocery shop? And more importantly, the ones who are having a difficult life and were disabled were now learning new ways to do things when they didn't believe before that it was possible. No, when I was young, I picked up a guitar and I played with it a lot. It just came kind of natural, but I never really felt like I was serious in music. I always wrote poetry, so after I discovered the guitar, I was able to say what I was feeling while using an instrument at the same time. And after I had my accident, of course, my fingers and hands don't work. So I lost the ability to play any instrument physically the way I used to before. But after some time, I realized that I still had a lot to say. I was feeling a lot, and I needed to get a lot out. So I started writing more poetry style. And I also had this difficulty with singing because I don't have any abdominal muscle. So it was very hard to hold notes like I used to be able to do before. But after discovering some music creators on the internet and asking questions and how they did what they did, they explained to me that just by buying some equipment and using something called virtual instruments, that I could maybe do it again. Actually, strangely enough, I was hit by a truck in 2006. As a result, I got like $9,000. I could have bought a vehicle or I could have bought music equipment. And I bought music equipment. And suddenly I realized I can make music again. And I was happy with the decision because it brought me something for inside instead of having some material thing outside. I started with hip hop because with hip hop it's more storytelling with emphasis on words versus singing. And I had a big story to tell. So I started making hip hop songs. I started uploading them. I started getting responses from certain people. And it became a release. For the first few years, I was quite depressed, as anybody would be in this life. And I had a lot to let out. Not so much to say, but to get out of me. I probably spent a couple of years making music. And I still have lots of equipment. And it's something I really have to be deeply emotional about. And I found myself more lately in a very pleasant, peaceful state where I haven't gone into the depths of sadness or the extremes of over-enlightenment. So I haven't been making music lately, but it's coming back. In my last talk that I did, TED, I started with a song that I wrote called My Name is Chris. And the whole song pretty much defines me. My name is Chris, and I want to tell you this. There are many precious moments all around us getting missed. As a child, through my misery, I wished that I could crush the world inside my tiny palms. Trembling in my fists got me raged and feeling pissed, just the opposite of bliss. Love was all I really missed. A lonely road, now I'm older, I'm no longer feeling cold. Every moment I advance and won't be missing any chance. My head is always up to keep the bad from getting closer to my heart, which in the end will only make you feel sad or battered. There's no cover to be blown. I'm looking to be known, to be heard, already placed upon a throne by everyone I know. One of the first times was a guy named Joe Andrews. He lived in Texas. He wrote me a message saying he had a vacation coming up. He asked if he could come and stay with me. I never met the guy. I didn't know anything about him. But I told him yes. The guy slept on my couch for a week. Somehow he needed to do something for himself. And I didn't want to deny him if he was going to use his only vacation to come and visit someone he doesn't even know. then I thought maybe he needed it. And since then, I've been opening up my life to people like this a lot. I do try to get involved in people's lives who are willing to put forth some effort to change. I don't have a lot of time to give to each individual as much anymore because it's too enormous of a job. I can only hope that putting over 500 videos about my life in detail on the internet, that they have enough information that they can find their way. Actually change their life because they're in a very dark place. But I'm really trying to reach people who are able-bodied because as a society, everyone is disabled. It seems many people are disabled. And too many people have everything. And seems that they feel they have nothing at the same time. And I understand clearly what this is. And I made this choice to change my life before I was in a position to be in an accident. And I did change, and I know that anyone can. It's just a matter of shifting your consciousness. Even if they just wake up one day and don't complain when they complained yesterday, then I've done my job. I'm just one man on a big mission, and I'm doing everything I can. I give every ounce of energy I have to helping whoever I come in contact with. We have everything we need already. There's no man standing next to my bed in the morning waiting to charge me for the air. Yet it's there for me every day. Knowing that is all I need. And that should be all that anyone needs. Stop chasing the things that aren't important.